You know what's crazy? Most people don't overpay for solar because the panels are expensive. They overpay because they buy the wrong size system, and that's the trap. Companies walk into your house, throw giant numbers at you, and slap together a system way bigger than you need. And suddenly you're financing enough solar power to run a small potato powered amusement park when all you wanted was to your electric bill from looking like a hostage note. Solar can absolutely save you money, but only if you size the system correctly. And today, I'm going to break down exactly how to do that without getting smoked by overselling tactics, fake savings calculators, or sales reps who act like every house needs enough panels to contact aliens from space. The first thing you need to understand is that solar sizing has almost nothing to do with the physical size of your house. That's mistake number one. A giant house can have a low electric bill if the owner barely uses power, and a tiny house can burn through electricity like it's trying to speed run the electrical grid. What actually matters is your energy consumption. Your utility bill is the entire game. Specifically, you want to find your annual kilowatt hour usage. And most utility companies show this directly on your bill. Or you can add up 12 months of usage manually. If your house used 12,000 kilowatt hours last year, that becomes the baseline for the size of the solar system you need. Simple. But but this is where people instantly mess up because they only look at 1 month, usually summer, when the air conditioning is fighting for its life and the electric bill looks like rent. Solar is sized annually because your production changes every season. In the summer, your panels are cooking under the sun like a baked potato on a dashboard. And winter production drops your average the entire year together to get the real number. Next, you need to understand that a solar system size is measured in kilowatts, but the energy it actually produces is measured in kilowatt hours. People mix these up constantly. A 10 kilowatt solar system does not produce 10 kilowatt hours total. It produces electricity every single day based on the sun exposure, panel efficiency, weather, shading, roof angle, and location. And the same 10 kilowatt system might produce 15,000 kilowatt hours a year in Arizona, but only 11,000 in Indiana because sunlight conditions are completely different. This is why blindly copying someone else's setup is a terrible idea. Your neighbor's system means absolutely nothing if their roof faces a different direction or they use twice as much power running 12 refrigerators full of expired ranch dressing. The easiest way to estimate the right size system is by using your yearly power usage and dividing it by your area's production ratio. And in many parts of the United States, every installed kilowatt of solar produces roughly 1,200 to 1,600 kilowatt hours annually. So if you use 12,000 kilowatt hours per year and your averages 1,500 kilowatt hours per installed kilowatt, you need roughly an 8 kilowatt system. And that's the math people hope you never learn because once you understand this, suddenly their giant oversized quote starts looking suspicious. And let's talk about overproduction because this is where thousands of dollars disappear. Some companies intentionally oversize the systems claiming you're future proof your home. And it sounds smart, right? And sometimes it is, okay? But most of the time it's nonsense. If your utility companies does not give full net metering credit, extra solar production becomes way less valuable. Net metering is basically the utility company allowing you to send excess power back to the grid in exchange for credits. Full net metering means 1 kilowatt hour exporting is worth 1 kilowatt hour later. Partial net metering means the utility pays you less for exported power than what they charge you to buy it back later. That difference matters massively if your utility only pays wholesale rates for excess production. Then building a gigantic system can actually destroy your return on investment because you're producing energy you don't fully benefit from. Translation, congratulations. You bought expensive panels so the power company could get cheap electricity. Incredible strategy if your lifelong dream was sponsoring your utility company CEO's boat payment. The sweet spot for most homeowners is offsetting around 80 to 100% of annual usage, depending on local policy, utility rules, and future plans. Future plans matter a lot. Are you planning to buy an electrical vehicle? Add a hot tub. Run crypto miners from your garage while dressed like a cyberpunk raccoon? Then yes, you may want additional capacity. But if your lifestyle isn't changing dramatically, oversizing is usually unnecessary. Another major mistake is ignoring efficiency upgrades before sizing solar. This is gigantic. If your house leaks air like a submarine made of crackers, your solar system has to compensate for that wasted energy forever. People will spend $30,000 on panels before replacing ancient appliances, upgrading insulation, sealing windows, or switching to LED lighting. That this mistakes makes zero sense. Every watt you save through efficiency is a watt you don't need to buy from a solar installer. And sometimes spending $3,000 on installation can reduce the required solar size by several panels, and instantly saving more money than the installation itself. Efficiency first, solar second. And that order matters. Roof orientation also plays a huge role in sizing too. South facing roofs in the United States usually get the best production, and east and west are decent, and north facing roofs are often weaker depending on the pitch and the location. A smaller system on a perfect south facing roof can outperform a large system installed on a bad roof angle with partial shading. Trees matter too. Shade is the mortal enemy of solar production. One poorly placed tree branch can reduce output way more than people expect. And this is why a professional shade analysis matters. If a company never checks the shading properly and just tosses panels everywhere like they're decorating a Christmas cookie, that's a red flag. And speaking of red flags, beware of solar quotes designed around monthly payments psychologically instead of total system value. Sales reps love saying things like, your payment is lower than your electric bill. Cool. For how long? At what interest rates? And how many years? Some solar loans stretch so long that you end up paying absurd amount of interest. A small, correctly sized cash system can outperform a massive finance system financially, even if the monthly payments looks higher initially. Anything looks at total lifetime cost, not just monthly payments. Another thing nobody tells people is panel efficiency is not the most important factor for most homeowners. Companies love pushing ultra premium panels because the profit margins are juicy. But unless your roofing space is extremely limited, paying huge premiums for tiny efficiency gains often doesn't make financial sense. If one panel is 21% efficient and another is 19% efficient, that difference might sound huge in marketing, but in real world production, it may barely matter depending on your roof space. Don't get hypnotized by spec sheets. Focus on total system productions, the warranty quality, installer reputation, and price per watt. Price per watt is one of the best ways to compare quotes fairly. You take the total system price before incentives and divide it by the system size in watts. So a $24,000 8 watt kilowatt system, 8 kilowatt system. Okay, let's just start over. So a $24,000 8 kilowatt system equals $3 per watt. And that allows you to compare companies, applies apples to apples instead of getting distracted by weird financing tricks or fake discount language. And yes, always get multiple quotes, minimum three, preferably five. Solar pricing varies widely because the industry is still full of aggressive commission structures. And one company might quote you $40,000 while another offers nearly the same system for 28,000. Same roof, same sunlight, same house. The difference is often just how badly someone wants to commission check large enough to buy a jet ski shaped like a potato. And batteries are another area where people overpay massively. Batteries are incredible for backup power and energy independence, but financially, they often extend the payback period significantly unless your utility has terrible net metering and or frequent outages. A lot of people are pressured into batteries that they don't actually need. If your grid is reliable and your net metering is strong, a battery may not make financial sense yet. And that doesn't mean batteries are bad. It just means you should buy them for the correct reasons: backup power, energy security, time of use optimization, or avoiding outages, not because some salesperson told you your refrigerator would emotionally appreciate it. And one more thing people forget is system degradation, too. Solar panels slowly lose output over time, usually around 0.5% annually, depending on the manufacturer. Good installers factors this into long-term production estimates. Bad installers, they magically assume your system will produce like a nuclear reactor forever. Ask for realistic degradation assumptions and production guarantees in writing. Also, check whether utility has fixed fees because some homeowners They assume solar eliminates the electrical bill completely, and many utilities still charge grid connection fees. Even if you offset all your energy usage, you might reduce the variable portion of the bill dramatically, but still owe minimum charges every month. And understanding this upfront prevents disappointment later when your $0 bill still somehow arrives looking like the electrical company sent you an invoice for breathing oxygen near a power line. At the end of the day, sizing solar without overpaying comes down to understanding your actual annual electricity usage, improving home's efficiency first, matching the system to realistic future needs, and understanding local net metering rules, and comparing quotes using price per watt, and refusing to let anyone pressure you into oversized systems loaded with unnecessary extras. Solar is math. It's not magic, and the more you understand the numbers, the harder it is to become for someone to manipulate you with emotional sales tactics and fake urgency. You know, a properly sized system should feel boring on paper. That's how you know it's probably right. It covers your needs, produces predictable savings, and pays itself off over time without requiring fantasy level assumptions about electricity prices skyrocketing to the moon. The goal is not building the biggest solar system your roof can physically hold. The goal is building the smartest system for your actual life. Because the best solar setup isn't the one with the most panels. It's the one that quietly saves you money for decades while your neighbors are still arguing with the sales reps about why their oversized system produces enough electricity to power three houses and a medieval castle drawbridge. Anyways, thanks for watching today's video. If you found value in today's video, please subscribe. Without you, I can't grow this channel. And a subscription base is what YouTube says I need. So I appreciate it if you would sub. Also, comment down below. I respond to every comment that I possibly can. And also check out these videos on the right. It could also help you on your off-grid tiny house journey. Thanks for watching, and we will see you guys all on the next one. See you guys tomorrow.